Well, hello there, beautiful friends, and welcome back to Meaningful Moments with May. And I am so grateful that you're here with me today because this episode touches so many hearts and lives. We're talking about something most of us carry quietly, internally, every single day. How do I stop criticizing myself, and why do I apologize all the time? This was my daily life, not in the not too distant past. And so, if you've ever felt like you've been too hard on yourself, you're overly responsible, or you're constantly saying, I'm sorry, even when you've done nothing wrong, this episode is going to feel like a deep exhale. But before we begin, and as we go into the holiday season, I'd like to wish you a happy or merry and safe, whatever holiday it is that you celebrate. I love this time of year. So let's dive in. Today, we're not just talking about your inner critic, we're actually going to meet it, understand where it came from, why it speaks the way it does, and how to begin shifting that voice into one of compassion, love, and trust. Let's dive in. Let's meet your inner critic. Your inner critic is not a flaw, it's a part of you. A protective mechanism your mind created to keep you safe. It usually forms in childhood, where self criticism becomes a strategy to avoid disapproval, rejection, shame, chaos, conflict. It says things like, be perfect so no one gets mad. Don't speak up, you might upset someone. Apologize first so you look agreeable. Criticize yourself before anyone else can. Have you ever been known to do that? This voice isn't trying to hurt you, it's trying to prevent hurt. It just learned the wrong methods to do so. So when you understand that, the relationship begins to shift. And here's why you criticize yourself so much. Self-criticism feels like protection when you grew up in an environment where your emotions weren't validated. Mistakes were punished or mocked. You had to be the good one or the responsible one, and love felt conditional. You kept the peace for others, or you were taught to stay small and agreeable or quiet. So part of your mind learned, if I'm always hard on myself, I can stay ahead of the danger. Your brain isn't trying to hurt you, it's trying to keep you safe the only way it knows how. But now you're an adult, and the strategies that once protected you are now limiting you. And this is where healing begins. So why do you think you apologize so much? Let's talk about that constant, I'm sorry. If this is you, you're not weak. You're not overly sensitive. You're not dramatic. You are conditioned. People who over apologize often grew up, maybe you grew up afraid of upsetting someone or feeling responsible for other people's emotions. That's a big one. Maybe you grew up avoiding conflict at all costs, walking on eggshells. Perhaps you were or are hyper aware of others' reactions and you are trying to control the outcome, needing predictability. And maybe you grew up feeling like you were too much or maybe not enough. Maybe you wanted to stay invisible to stay safe. So I'm sorry becomes a shield. I'm sorry becomes a peacekeeping tool. I'm sorry becomes a preemptive defense. I'm sorry becomes a way to avoid criticism. I'm sorry becomes a way to minimize your presence. But here's the truth. You don't need to apologize for existing. You don't need to shrink to be loved. And you don't need to disappear to feel safe. Here's what your inner critic really wants. Your inner critic has one job, and that job is to prevent you from emotional danger. It tries to protect you by pointing out flaws, warning you of possible rejection, keeping you from disappearing or disappointing others, deflating your confidence before someone else can. But this protective part of you is outdated. It's still responding to old emotional environmental patterns. What it really wants is to feel safe. It wants predictability. It wants acceptance, belonging, and love. And the way you give it all that is by building a new internal relationship with it. So, here are some steps you can take to stop criticizing yourself, rewire your emotional system, and slow down your automatic apology. There are compassionate, doable steps to begin shifting your inner voice. First, name the critic. Give it a name, not to mock it, but to separate it from your identity. This is fear voice Fred. This is old safety mode. This is protector mode. This allows you to talk to it instead of becoming it. Second, use pattern interrupts. When you hear the voice say, I'm not good enough, I messed up again, I always ruin things, respond with, I hear you, but I don't talk to myself that way anymore. Short acknowledgement, gentle, loving tone with powerful impact. Third, practice self-validation. Try saying, it's okay that I feel this way. I did my best with what I knew or what I had. My needs matter. This rewires your emotional safety system. And finally, learn to slow down the automatic apology. Start with micro steps. Replace I'm sorry with thank you. Thank you for your patience. Replace sorry for asking with thanks for helping me clarify. Replace sorry for existing with nothing at all. Every shift tells your nervous system, I'm allowed to take up space. And let's take a moment for reflection and journaling if you're into the journaling. So let's take a deep breath. If you want to breathe with me in through the nose and release it slowly through your mouth, like you're sipping on a straw, and place your hand on your heart. Sorry about that. You probably heard a click. And ask yourself, what does my inner critic sound like? When did I first become critical of myself? When did I first learn I needed to shrink? Who taught me that apologizing keeps me safe? And what does the part of me that's so hard on myself really need? The inner critic softens not through force, but through curiosity, love, and compassion. So if today's episode resonated with you, and if you're tired of feeling small, sorry, or self-critical, I created something that goes even deeper, a free downloadable e-guide called How to Silence the Inner Critic. Inside it, you'll learn 3 types of inner critics: how your nervous system fuels self-criticism, practical scripts to interrupt, harsh self-talk, and daily tools to stop over-apologizing. A simple practice to build your inner safety, and this guide will help you understand why this inner voice exists and what you can do to finally quiet it with compassion. You can download it using the link in the show notes, or you can go to maycaleb.com/critic. That's MAICALEV as in Victor.com/critic. Thank you for spending this meaningful moment with me today. And if this episode touched your heart, please pass it along to someone who might need it too. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And remember this, your worth is not up for debate. You are allowed to take up space, and your inner voice can become your greatest ally. Have a great holiday season. Bye for now.